Now we'll discuss Surangama Sutra. Wow, this is very long. Let me recite the sutra. The Buddha said to Ananda, let's start with your seeing. The clarity of your seeing is innate and fundamental. Though the seeing is not the wondrous, luminous true mind itself, it's like the second moon seen when vision is unclear. It's not an illusion, and neither it is the real moon. Listen carefully. I will now show you the ground of no return. Ananda, this grand lecture hall opens to the east. When the sun rises into the sky, it shines brightly. At midnight, when there is a dark moon, clouds and fog obscure the sky. It becomes dim again. When looking through the doors and windows, one sees openness. Between the walls, one sees obstructions. When there is distinction, one sees conditioned appearances. In that emptiness, one sees voidness. When there is dust and haze, one sees gloom. When the sky clears and the air settles, one sees clarity. Ananda, you are observing all these changing appearances. Now I will return each to its source. What is its origin? Light returns to the sun. Why? Without the sun, there is no brightness. So brightness comes from the sun. Darkness returns to the dark moon. Openness returns to the doors and windows. Obstruction returns to the walls. Causes and conditions return to discernments. Emptiness returns to the voids. Gloom returns to dust and haze. Clarity returns to the cleared sky. All phenomena in the world fall within these categories. Now, as for your faculty of seeing that perceives all 8 kinds of these conditions, to what can your seeing itself be returned? Why? If it returned to brightness, then in the absence of brightness, you shouldn't be able to see darkness. Yet despite all the differences between brightness and darkness, your seeing does not change. Whatever can be returned is not you. What does not return, if it isn't you, then what is? Therefore, you should know that your mind is originally wondrous, bright, and pure. It's because you fall into confusion and forget your origin that you're caught in the rebirth cycle. That's why Tathagata calls you pitiable. Each character or word has its meaning, but reading it, you would not understand what Sakyamuni Buddha is talking about. Actually, it's very simple. Sakyamuni Buddha told Ananda, now you're looking at me. If you look at me and then you close your eyes, is there still Sakyamuni Buddha? Of course there is, right? Because that's visualization. Now you look at me and then you cover your eyes with your hand. Can you still see me? Yes, you can. Why? Because you can think about it. Because you just saw it. So the image is still on your brain. So this seeing is not the wondrous, luminous, true mind. Like when you look at the moon at night, it's round, and then you close your eyes. In front of you, there's still a moon, a round moon. But that's not the second moon, and it's not the shadow of the moon. That's what this passage means. Ananda, listen carefully. Now, I will tell you what is the ground of no return. Yesterday, at the Seattle-Lichang Temple, I said the 5 heavens of no return. If you go to the heavens of no return, you will not come to the Saha world anymore. Once you get there, you will not come back.
现在释迦牟尼要开始。
Now, Sakyamuni Buddha teaches what is the ground of no return.
也就是说，这妙明真心
That means the wondrous, luminous, true mind will not depart. That's no return. So, Ananda, let me give you an analogy.
现在在大讲堂里面，
For example, we're inside the grand lecture hall, and the doors are open facing the east. In the morning, when the sun rises,
就可以看到光明了。
you can see light.
晚上的时候，黑
At
夜，
night,
你看到的是云雾
in darkness,
的暗。
what you see
晚上
are clouds and fog, and it's very dark and dark.
你如果从这个窗户看，从窗户看过去，
If you look through the
你
windows,
可以看到，
you can see
可以看得出来，看到外面。
outside.
从窗户看可以看到外面。从墙移之间，你看，
Between the walls, then you cannot see outside.
你看墙，
If you look
看不
at
到外面。
the walls, you cannot see the outside because the walls obstruct it. That's called discernment.
玩虚之中，偏是虚空。你看虚空呢，就觉得
So when you see the empty space,
什么都没有。
there's nothing. Look at the sky. There's nothing in there.
如果是有灰尘，
If there is dust or mist, then you cannot see through. That's the transformation in the sky, and there are many of them, like rain, hails, lightning, thunder,
还刮风，因为有些时候
and sometimes smoke. Like when I live in Taichung, the coal power plant, when they are in progress,
雾霾里面，
and you're high up on the hill, then you can see the whole area is covered with smoke, and you can't even see the buildings.
但是你如果像有灰尘，你就很
So
现象出现。
with dust, there are many phenomena appearing. After rain and the sky clears,
清净，
then you see a clear sky, very bright.
释迦牟尼跟阿难尊者讲，
Sakyamuni Buddha told Ananda,
这些都是在变化。
you see all these changes, changing appearances,
这个都是有还的。
but they all have a ground of return. What does it mean? They all belong to something. Some have no returns.
阿难尊者这些
So why?
亮的、光明的，就还给太阳。
So the light or brightness
为什么要
returns to the sun. Why? Because without the sun, there is no brightness.
明因属日？这个光明就是
So brightness belongs to the sun. That's why it's called returning. So they return to the sun.
而已故。为什么呢？
Why?
没有太阳，它就不会有光明。
Because without the sun, there's no brightness. That's why brightness belongs to the sun.
可是光明还给太阳。
So brightness returns to the sun. When you don't see the sun, it's night. And the night returns to the moon.
你那个由窗子看，你可以看到外面。
When there's a window, you can see the outside. So the seeing returns to the windows. And when you cannot see, then you return that to the walls or that.
一切都是
So everything return to discernments. So if you can see, brightness returns to the sun. Darkness returns to the moon. Seeing returns to the windows. Because of the windows you can see. If you cannot see, that returns to the walls. So in this way, if you see the sky and everything in it, you return it to the sky.
也就是说，有灰尘，
If there is dust, you return it to the dust.
那么你看到这个雨过天晴，
If you see clear sky after rain, then you return that to the sky too. So all phenomena in the world fall within these categories. That's all they are, how they are. That's called returning or belonging or classifying. Everything in this world has to be returned to something. So this is talking about impermanence. If you're alive, you need to return to death. And death returns to karma. And karma returns to reincarnation. So everything in the world is like that. All the same, all the same. All with returning. So all kinds of phenomena that you see have a ground of returns. So all you're seeing has no differences at all. They all have grounds of returns. So if return to brightness, and in the absence of brightness, you shouldn't be able to see darkness. So despite of all differences, your seeing does not change. So whatever that can be returned is not you. And what does not return, if it's not you, then what it is. So you should know that anything that does not return is called the wondrous, luminous, true mind. It is because you should know that your mind is originally the wondrous, luminous, and pure. It's because you fall into confusion and forget your origin that you are caught in the cycle of birth and death, drifting endlessly in samsara. Because sentient beings are deluded by the external phenomena. Any images in front of you, however it changes, they all have to return to something. Something returned to karma. And all phenomena in the sky have to be returned to the sky. All kinds of changes. Only one thing that cannot be returned is the wondrous, luminous, true mind. Because Ananda, you now use your eyes, ears, and the 6 consciousnesses to discern. And all these things, all these are returned. Only one thing that cannot be returned, and that's the wondrous, luminous, true mind. And those that return are amidst the birth and death and the reincarnation. So Sakyamuni Buddha regarded that being born and die and birth and death in the 6th rebirth realm, it's like a wood drifting in the ocean. Very pitiful. That's the meaning of this excerpt. That's a simple explanation because the words and the wording, the word choices are very difficult. So with the windows and you look out and you can see someone standing there. But if you look at the wall, you cannot see that person. So when you see the windows, it should belongs to the windows, and you see the walls, it's returned to the walls. If you see the changes in the sky, you return it to the sky. If you see brightness, you return it to the sun. If you see darkness, you return it to the moon. And when we see our own body, we know we have to return it to death. And returning to the end, that's to death. And after death, you return it to karma. Because you're deluded by all external images, so you create karma. And because you have created karma, you're reincarnated and just drifting in the ocean in the 6 rebirth rounds. So Sakyamuni Buddha said, and because of that, you're very pitiful. Every one of us is very pitiful. That's what Sakyamuni Buddha said. This long passage is talking about this. So what is human life about?
你住在房子里面啊，
And if you live in a house,
每一个人都有家。
that's right, every one of us has a home. It's just that it's either big or small.
房子就
And in the future, the houses return to
房
houses.
子是房子，
And you are you. A house is a house.
你现在拥有很多土地，
Now you have lots of properties,
很多财产，土地呀、
lots of
祖
assets,
先留下来土地一大笔，
and you inherited from your ancestors, and you're very pleased. They're all very valuable, but the land returns to the land. It's not
也占不了
a place for you. You cannot stand on it or to own it forever.
将来我们都住小房子，双人境界。
In the future, our home would be the Twin Lotus Columbarium, and that's our future home.
双人境界就一格一格的，
And it's just a box, little boxes in the columbarium, so it's returned. And fame, you're very famous. You're president or a minister or heads of whatever. They all returned. The president returned the president, the minister returned the minister, the chief returned the chief. Even the head of the department is not forever. You're not forever president. They all needs to be returned.
部长还给总统，
The minister returned, the minister presidents returned the president. The head of departments returned the head of department. General managers returned the general manager. CEO returned to the CEO.
钱呢，还
Money is returned to the money, not to you.
一切只是暂时。
Everything is temporary phenomena.
就是因为学佛，
Just because I studied Buddhism,
随便
I know that I cannot just die as I like. That's the only difference.
但是还是有业障。
But I still have karma. There is still karma. Whatever you do, that's karma. And the karma is returned to karma. Life is returned to death. Death returned to karma. Karma is returned to samsara. Only by eradicating karma, you can recognize the wondrous, luminous, true mind.
你才可以跳脱六道轮回。
Then you can be liberated or jump out of the transmigration in the six rebirth realms. But before you eradicate karma, you are definitely bound by the six rebirth realms. For the better ones, you go to the heavenly realms. So some people talk about 5 rebirth realms, not 6. Because if you go to the heavenly realm of form, let's just say the Brahma heaven or the Mahabrahma, God, Brahma, he could live for 100 kalpas. And what are those 100 kalpas? One kalpa is from the creation, development, deterioration, and emptiness
天地变化，
of the heaven and earth, and 100 times of that. Just imagine how long that lifespan is for Mahabrahma. He lived such a long life.
到了天，到了大梵天，
So even if you just go to the Mahabrahma heaven, that's incredibly long. That's incredible already.
那初禅、二禅、三禅、四禅，
The first dhyana heaven, second, third, fourth dhyana heavens. The fourth is the heavenly realm of formlessness. Second and third dhyana is in the heavenly realm of form. And the first dhyana sometimes is in the heavenly realm of desire. It's not fixed.
按照佛经所讲，
So according to the Buddhist sutras, according to what Sakyamuni Buddha said, sentient beings deluded by the external, they don't understand the marvelous and the luminous. Only by eradicating karma, you would understand the true mind and see the Buddha nature. And because they don't understand, they cycle in the rebirth realm, and Sakyamuni Buddha called that pitiful.
认为众生很可怜，
All the Buddhas pity sentient beings because they are deluded by the external, and they all have returns.